Hi, welcome back to another Young at Art at Home project. My name is Sylvie from Steamboat Creates, and today we are going to be making a paper weaving project. All you need is some paper, and you'll want to choose at least two colors so that you can see the weaving pattern. I'm going to use a few different colors. You'll also want a pair of scissors and a pencil, and if you have a ruler, I recommend using that. I couldn't find my ruler, so I'm going to use the edge of a piece of paper. So I'll show you how to do that in case you don't have a ruler handy. You'll also want a glue stick. And the glue stick's going to be much easier than wet glue, although you can make that work. You'll just have to be more patient with it drying in between the project. And at the end, you might want some markers or stickers or other things to help with decorating your paper weaving. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to do is decide which colors I'm going to use. I've decided to use this green as my base to my paper weaving, and then I'm going to use some pink and some purple and some orange paper as pieces that'll end up weaving through it. So to start, I'm going to line up, grab black instead of purple. I'm going to line up the pieces that I'll use to weave through. So I'm going to keep this green piece for the base of the paper weaving, and then I'm going to get all the colors I want to weave through, and I'm going to line them up so that I can cut them. And here's an opportunity to use a ruler. So you could place either the ruler or a piece of paper down so that you can make a line, and then you'll know that you have something to help you cut it evenly. But I'll cut up strips of this paper. So I've got one line drawn on there, so I'm going to cut this up, and then I'll end up cutting it about halfway is probably all I'll need for this piece, but if you want to do a lot of it, you can cut it all up into strips. Okay, so now I've got strips of paper, and these are what I'll be using for weaving through the project. Ooh, I don't know if you're hearing the thunder outside as loudly as I am, but it's a great rainy day project. The next piece is going to be cutting the foundation paper, but we're not going to cut it all the way through. So again, I'm going to take a piece of paper so that I can lay it down and draw a line at the top, and this is where I'm going to stop. I'm not going to cut the strips past this line. And then I'm going to trace where I will cut the lines on this base paper. So now you can see that I've drawn these lines on this piece of paper, and I'm going to cut them from the base here all the way up, but I'm going to stop before I get to the edge. It'll look a little bit like the paper is fringed. So let's check it out. So now you can see how we've got this base for our paper weaving. And this is going to help us be able to move through this paper more easily. So now what you want to do is you want to take your first strip of paper, and you are going to want to lift up the second piece of the fringe from the outside and begin to weave the paper through. So now I lifted up the second, now I'm going to lift up the fourth and push it through. Lift up the sixth piece. Basically, I'm lifting up every other piece so that I can weave this piece of paper through all the way to the end. And you can see that pattern is starting to emerge. So now the easiest thing to do is going to be to push it all the way up to the edge. You want to have your, the edges should be even there, and you want to push it all the way up to the top. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my glue stick and I'm going to lift up the edge here and glue it down. And for me, I'm going to have to flip it over. You may have enough fringes that it also ends on top. It should work either way. So now I've got my first strip weaved through, and I'm gonna then go to a different color. So I wanted to have orange as my next color. So this time I'm gonna lift up every piece of fringe that has my purple at the top. Put this down a little more so you can see it. So because this purple dot's at the top, I'm lifting up that fringe and letting the orange push through underneath. And I'm going to move it all the way up so that it slides up close to that orange for that second line. And I'll glue down the ends. Make sure that end is even over here. Lift up this orange to glue that down. And I'll have to flip mine over again, which you may need to do to glue the other end down on the other side. Now I'm going to keep going. So I'm going to do a third color here, this time lifting up the fringe that is underneath the orange. So I'll want to do the opposite so that I get this checkered kind of pattern. And once I get it to the edge, I'm gonna again push it so that it goes towards the top, towards those other colors, and then glue it down. Lifting up the edge over here. I'll try to slide it up a little more. And then flipping it over to glue it down on the other side. So now you can see I've got the start of my paper weaving going. Okay, so now I'm almost down to the bottom of this paper weaving, and for the last strip, I am gonna take my last strip of paper and glue it right on top. I'm not gonna weave it through, and that's gonna help hold this paper weaving all together. So I'm gonna glue this strip on one side and then place it on the bottom all the way at the edge. And this is something you can also do on the opposite side, because there are still some fringes on the opposite side. They've been secured pretty well with this strip, but if you want it to be two-sided or you like the look of that border, you can have fun with that. So here is this paper weaving. Keep in mind, you can decorate them with markers or stickers or whatever else you have around and have fun with making it your own. Thank you so much for joining another Young at Art at Home project. Look forward to having you again. Please visit Steamboat Creates YouTube channel and subscribe so that you're the first to know when we upload a new video. And as always, we love to see pictures of your creations on the Steamboat Creates Facebook page or on Steamboat Creates Instagram. Thanks, be well, and stay safe. Bye.